Hello and welcome.
To the Delusional Boyfriend Book Club, where if shipping One Piece characters is wrong.
I don't want to be right.
My name's Courtney.
And I'm Wolf.
And today we're talking about One Piece Volume 15. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe. Every Tuesday we drop one of these Shonen Simp Club episodes where we go over a volume of One Piece. Today we started off with our characters. They have defeated all of their enemies from Baroque Works.
Yep. Mr. 3.
And Sanji is on the phone, actually, with Mr. Zero.
Yep.
And he's asking if everyone is defeated. Sanji is pretending that he's Mr. 3 and says, yep, everyone's defeated. And at the same time, Mr. Zero, who we know is Crocodile, sends out the Unluckies, who are like your favorite characters.
Yeah, it's just like an otter and a vulture.
So they get there. Sanji has to kick their asses really quick. And they drop an eternal log pose when he's done kicking their ass, which is going to help them get straight to Alabasta.
It's a way for you to directly navigate straight to the island that it's eternally pointing to.
Yeah, so otherwise you have to keep going from island to island and continuing to reset your compass, basically, at each island.
And they would have to wait a year on this specific one because that's how long it takes for this island to get the log pose.
Reset.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is a shortcut. They will be able to get exactly where they want to go. They take off. The two giants help them by saying, sail directly forward. I love this part. And then a huge goldfish goes to swallow them up, and the two giants blast a hole through the fish so that they can go directly through it. And they're well on their way when Nami falls ill.
Pretty much. Yeah, she starts to get like a fever kind of and like falls over and passes out.
And that is going to be basically the catalyst for this entire volume.
This entire volume is a setup to what's going to happen in the intermediate between arcs because the whole Dorian Broggy thing is not necessarily like a full episode, but it's like a filler in between these different arcs and when they're going to meet their new crew member.
And yeah, so they also are introducing these giants, which we know will come back in the future. And we know that because we have Usopp who's saying, I want to make sure that we go to Elbaf and see these legendary giants. I really respect them and their honor. And then we also know that because right now that's where we're at with the anime. So if you see any kind of like cosplayers cosplaying current anime characters or outfits from One Piece, it's going to be Elbaf outfits.
It all circles back around for the most part.
Yeah, so these giants, that's the first time we've met giants, but it won't be the last time we meet them. So it's a little bit of a filler arc, but it's also a bit of foreshadowing of what we're going to get.
Sure.
So they get on their way, Nami falls ill, and then everyone is worried, how are we going to get to Alabasta in time to save Vivi, who I love Vivi. She's such a good character. And her homeland is at war.
Yeah, Nami brings out like a newspaper article she was withholding from the crew because she didn't want Vivi to get worried about her homeland. And so this article is saying that the entire country is starting to go into turmoil. There's a lot of riots going on. People are like getting really hurt.
The rebel forces have doubled.
Yeah, exactly.
So they are trying to get as fast as they can to Alabasta. Nami doesn't want to admit that she's sick because she wants to help Vivi get home as quick as possible. And Vivi makes the executive decision that if they don't have their navigator, they'll never get back to Alabasta. So it doesn't matter if they have to stop at the next island to waste some time. They have to do it in order to get to a doctor.
Sail to Alabasta the fastest way possible, and the fastest way possible is to get Nami better so they can get there as fast as possible, which is a really smart way of saying it.
Yeah, so we've got these characters all rallying around Nami. It's not worth her health in order to get the mission done, and they can't get the mission done without her in good health. So they get going. Nami is like laying down. They start to realize that the weather is getting cold, and Vivi says, on the Grand Line, there are different islands that are autumn, spring, winter, and summer islands. And the closer you get to them, the more consistent the weather patterns get. So if it's really cold right now, we're probably close to a winter island. So they sail and get to the winter island. All of these people meet them.
Well, before they do that, they're about to show up at this winter island, and all of a sudden, this boat just pops out of the water.
That happens first.
Yeah, and so what happens is the boat pops out of the water, and this dude comes out who's this fatter guy, and you find out eventually within the 2 chapters, that he's the exiled king of this land. But he starts to like physically eat the boat, like the Straw Hat's boat, because he has something called the punch fruit, which allows him to eat anything that he like can put in his mouth. Pretty much, it's a really weird power, and he comes back in the entire series, and I really like Wapple is his name. And so what happens is...
But he is a bastard. He sucks.
Yeah, he's not a good guy. And what happens is he tries to eat Luffy, and by doing so, Luffy, he like puts Luffy in his mouth, tries to eat him, and Luffy extends his arms and hits him as hard as he can, and Wapol goes flying. And what happens is when he goes flying, the rest of his crew's, remember us, we're going to come back for you. We got to go save the king. Because he's a fruit user, he'll sink to the bottom if we don't go save him.
So they get out of the way for the time being.
Yep.
The crew lands on this island that's a winter island.
Yep.
And all of the people are there to meet them at the shore and say, get the fuck away from us. We don't want pirates. We've had a bad history with pirates. And it turns out that has to do with the Wapol guy who we just met.
Yep.
And they refuse to let them enter the land until all of the Straw Hats bow down and beg them for medical help. And this land used to be an island of medical professionals, and it used to be really advanced as far as doctors go. Mm-hmm. They don't have any doctors now, but they do sympathize and let them onto the land and say, we'll help you. But there's only one doctor left, and it's a witch who lives on top of this mountain. So there's nothing we can do except wait for the witch to come to town. And Luffy says that won't do. We have to get Nami, our navigator, up there. I'm going to strap her to my back and run up there as fast as I can. And Sanji, of course, can't leave Nami's side because he loves her. Mm-hmm. Which I a little bit ship Sanji and Zoro together. But it's hard not to ship Sanji and Nami.
As Endgame? Yeah, that's the thing is, especially reading this, you get a little bit more parts of Sanji really simping for Nami a lot harder. But I mean, in the show too, or I guess through the longevity of the entire series, Sanji is one of these guys that like no matter what always loves Nami, and it's nice to see that like that's his like ride or die.
Yeah,
and even though he flirts with Vivi and like different girls, it's always day one Nami.
Yeah, and she is on the verge of dying. She has a 107-degree fever, and he can't leave her side. So he says, Luffy, you can't fight anybody on the way. I will do all of the fighting. You just run with her on your back. And the villagers say, you're going to want to take the backside of the mountain because if you take the front side, you're going to run into these rabbits. And Sanji says, I'm not worried about it. I can fight off some rabbits. And they fail to tell him that the rabbits are the size of like polar bears.
Yeah, like grizzly bears, and like they're just massive stacked rabbits that can move really fast, like the size of a bear, but can move as fast as a rabbit.
And also bears, you should know, we're in Montana, and we know a lot about bears. Like a grizzly bear will be the only large grizzly bear in an area, and it has a huge territory where it's basically the only bear, and they never pack up. That's not how they work. And so they might have cubs or something like that, but they do not travel in packs. These rabbits are pack animals who attack as one.
Yeah.
So not only are they the size of grizzlies, but they're attacking Sanji and Luffy as they get going in a horde. And so instead of being able to fight them, Sanji says, just sprint ahead as fast as you can. They end up like launching off one of the rabbits to get up on a mountain peak. And they're trying not to jostle Nami because they're afraid if they jostle her too much, her fever and the injuries to her would end her life. So they're doing their best, and it's taking a lot for Luffy not to fight. Because as Oda has said before in these end chapters, Luffy he acts first and then he thinks.
Yeah.
He never thinks before he acts, so it's hard for him to be restrained. And it's cool to see that his character arc, his growth in maturity, regardless of how he naturally is, if one of his crew members is depending on him, he can grow and learn and change and become better. And I know as the series goes on, we'll get Luffy at different power levels. And I think that's part of him, his power levels, is he does have to mature from just like gum pistol, punching people head on, to like getting a little bit more creative and sensitive and aware of his surroundings and his situation. So that's what's happening right now. He is putting his navigator first. He's not fighting. He's not using his fists. He's using his body to help somebody else and ignoring all the fighting around him, which is usually he can't resist fighting.
Yeah, no, I mean, this part right here specifically kind of jumps back and forth between different parts of the crew. Zoro's on the ship, guarding the ship. Luffy and Sanji are going to go find the witch to go heal Nami. And then you have Usopp and Vivi, which Vivi is now part of the crew officially. Or not officially now, but like she's becoming part of the crew.
Yeah. They
are going with this guy named Dalton, who was one of the people they met at the shore and didn't want them to get onto the land. But he's the impromptu leader of the place because Wapol is gone right now. And Dalton got news when Luffy and Sanji started to go for the witch that as soon as they left, Sanji and Luffy, they sprinted up the mountain, were gone, and then all of a sudden this woman comes up behind him and says, "Hey, the witch is actually in the town over." And so they had to like sprint over in this.
They're in a sleigh.
A sleigh, exactly, being pulled by like rams or something like that. And they're trying to go tell the witch in another town, "Hey, you need to get up to the mountain because these guys are looking for a doctor." And Nami is really sick.
The witch who we meet and right before she leaves that town, we get to see what she's doing there. And she's a little bit extorting them. She's asking for more than they have to give in order to heal a young boy. And she has a reindeer with her. And this reindeer pulls her sled like Santa and Rudolph, and the reindeer helps her. We see that the witch and the reindeer have headed back towards another town, and Usopp and Vivi are headed towards that town, but they miss the sign that is going to lead them there. So we know they're lost and they're not going to be much help. Of course, Zoro is waiting on the ship, but he wouldn't be much help with this anyways. And then Dalton is going back to his town because he's gotten word that people are attacking the ships at town, and he doesn't know, but he has an idea it's Wapol, and that's what's going on. And he had already filled in the crew that Wapol was the king of the island, and he was a really shitty king. He used all of the doctors inside his castle for himself and banished every other medical professional so that people who got sick had to beg him for help. And he extorted the entire island and held them hostage by not letting anybody get medical help without his permission. And that is why he was such an awful king. And then pirates came to the town and he abandoned the whole island, ran away to sea.
You get like a small introduction, but a pirate named Blackbeard, who is a huge player in the entire story of One Piece, came, and then Wapol just dipped.
But Dalton fought the pirates, and he did not dip. And so then we see him as he's going to go fight Wapol, encountering Wapol and his two right-hand men, and he transforms. And Dalton turns into an ox, and he is eating the ox fruit. Yep. And he's this, like, fucking sexy minotaur. Is that what it's called when you're, like, a bull?
Yeah, he's a minotaur, man.
He is so sexy. So he transforms, and he is running at them. He's super fast. He can dodge everything. He's really strong. And he's taking out their whole army of people until they say, "We know your weakness." And they shoot back at his men behind him, and he jumps in front of all of the arrows. And they say, your weakness is kindness, Dalton.
And loyalty to the people.
And because he won't let them get hurt. And he takes all these arrows and he goes down. And you see that now the army is going to lose against Wapol because none of them have any powers, of course. And Dalton is mortally injured, which was...
He has like 2 arrows in him.
3.
Or 3, sure.
And from the moment you meet him on the shore, and he allows them to come get medical help, and then he helps them go find the witch, he is so kind. They won't come inside because they're waiting for their friends, and he's like, "I'll wait outside with you too then." He's very empathetic. He's really sweet. He's big, tall, giant man. I love Dalton.
And then what ends up happening is all of a sudden he gets hit by the arrows, and an avalanche, the ground starts shaking, and an avalanche starts to happen, and then you cut to Luffy and Sanji and Nami, and the massive rabbits are like jumping up and down on the top of this mountain and are causing an avalanche. So they all collide, the story all collides together because this avalanche is coming down. And everyone is starting to feel it. And that's where this whole that's where this book ends.
And so we don't know where the witch is headed. We think she's headed to this other random town. Vivi and Usopp are lost. Luffy, Sanji, and Nami are causing an avalanche and fighting off rabbits. They're halfway up the mountain, maybe less. And then we've got Dalton down sick. Wapol is taking back the town, which all of the people are terrified of him and hate him. So pretty dismal ending, big cliffhanger.
It's an interesting episode or interesting chapter because it's just a setup to what's going to be happening in the bigger picture of this whole entire arc, which is a really fun one. It's a little bit bigger of an arc.
This arc
for right now is the biggest arc there will be.
And it's also, we are meeting a character, the ship, eventually, Luffy, in the earlier chapters, we tried to guess how many crew members were going to be on the Straw Hats. And we, of course, have the spoilers of Wolfgang having watched every single episode and read all of the chapters before. And he's forgotten something here or there along the way. But basically, there's 10 main people on the ship, and they each have a position or a job. So far, we have Nami, who is the navigator, Sanji is the cook, Zoro is the swordsman, Luffy is the captain, Usopp is the sniper, and Vivi is a special friend, but she doesn't like really have a position. She's a princess of Alabasta, so she has to get back to her position as princess.
She's like the official, unofficial money bags of the crew.
Oh, she's fun. She's a little bit of the funding.
She's a little bit, and like that's not her official title, but me personally, I've always thought of her as like the funding person and someone that
She's the banker.
the banker, and like Courtney said, like a very, very dear friend to the crew and someone that they hold like in high regards in their hearts.
Yeah, and she is, though, trying to get back to her dad and to this kingdom that is relying on her. They're going to be at war. So the other characters we know that they still need, which Luffy has brought up in the past, is a doctor and a musician and a mechanic. And so
A shipwright is the mechanic.
That's what they're called, a shipwright?
Shipwright, yeah.
So that's
someone who works on the ship.
That's who we're looking for, and obviously right now we're looking for a doctor. So
Yes.
this arc is a lot about getting to our doctor and making sure that the ship has a doctor, because if you're sailing between islands and it's going to be a week before you get to the next place, or the wind stops and you're stuck at sea for a month and somebody gets sick, we absolutely need someone to help out. And we saw
100%.
when the pirates who joined them for a little bit got scurvy, almost nobody had any medical knowledge. Nami had a little bit. But...
Yeah, and there's even a scene in this one where Vivi is taking care of Nami. She's in bed, she's sweating, and she's like, so no one on this crew knows any medical attention? And all the boys just point to Nami. And she's like, oh my gosh.
And then Sanji and Usopp say they've never been sick before. And Luffy goes, we should just throw water on Nami. And she's like, oh my God, you fucking idiot. You're going to kill her. So they absolutely cannot live without a doctor. And just spoiler alert, the doctor is one of my favorite characters. So I am extremely excited for this arc. I love it so much. Getting to this island and meeting like these characters who are in distress was difficult, but I do have a very specific delusional boyfriend from this story. Who is your delusional boyfriend? Do not say Wapple. I'll fucking kill you if you say Wapple.
No. Honestly, in this one, I think it probably has to be Sanji. Just because like he gets the eternal log pose, so that's one big one for him. And so now that we're getting further into this whole thing too, there might be some repeats on my delusional boyfriend. I think in the past I've said Sanji when we first...
I know I should keep a tally to see who, because of course we're going to go back and forth between Luffy, Sanji, Zoro, Usopp, these people who like are the main characters, Nami, and it would be fun to see. I'll go back and count up and see who is in the lead of most delusional boyfriend. Who is our top delusional boyfriend so far? So yours is Sanji. One thing I love about Sanji is we learn, basically Luffy says, let's just get Nami a bunch of meat and that will fix her. And Sanji says, I've already been giving her the best food already. I make sure that Vivi and Nami have all of the most proper nutrition, and you guys get any food that's going bad, but all of you have balanced diets, and I make sure that you're all healthy. But I make specific sure that Nami is getting the best food available to her, which that made him like...
she gets all the freshest ingredients. And I mean, like, Sanji, I think the reason why he is my delusional boyfriend for this week is because he, like, cares about Nami to the highest extent, make sure that she gets the best food, but then also is like, I will go with her. I'll go with you too, Luffy. I need to make sure that, like, gets there safe.
Yeah, which is funny because Zoro definitely could have gone with.
He's protecting the ship.
He's protecting the ship, and he did try to cut off his own legs when he was stuck in wax, so he's healing his legs. And one of my favorite panels from this volume is Zoro like clapping his feet together like hands. And I've been pointing out all of Oda's tendency to draw feet, and Wolfgang goes, you chapter 133 page 6, you're gonna love this panel. And I get to the panel and I'm like, is it Zoro's feet? Because it's just hysterical. He's always drawing these little grubby little toes. I think that Sanji definitely was the right person to go up the mountain with Luffy, because Zoro's not up to 100%.
Well, you'll see.
And also, there's nothing up the mountain that involves sword fighting. Like, They don't expect to find anyone with swords. They just expect to find these rabbits. So, my delusional boyfriend, can you guess who it was?
Probably Dalton.
It's definitely Dalton. Dalton is so hot, and he's like this minotaur. Also, before he even changes and shows us his devil fruit powers, we get him as a man, and he's just fucking sexy as a man. He's respectful. He's kind. He is a good soldier. He didn't abandon the island when everyone else did, so he's brave.
Big chest.
He has a big chest. He has black hair. I like him so much. I think Dalton's so hot.
He's a cool guy.
I can't wait to see next volume if he's going to survive or not. It's a huge cliffhanger for me. So really excited for volume 16. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe. Every Tuesday we drop one of these Shonen Simp Club episodes where we go over a volume of One Piece. And I absolutely am enjoying this year. I'm having so much fun. I hope you guys are enjoying it too. If you like romance specific episodes that aren't just me shipping One Piece characters but are truly about romance content, check out my episodes on Thursdays. I do a BL manhwa, BL live action, BL anime, and romance novel. And that's not always BL. Sometimes it's waichus, sometimes it's straight romance, rom-coms, sci-fis, whatever. So check those out on Thursdays. I am so glad that you guys are listening along. I love doing this podcast with you, Wolfgang. Thank you for being here.
Oh, it's the best. Thanks,
You're
man.
the cutest man in the whole world. So until next time, remember, sometimes the delusion
Is the solution.
Bye.
See you guys.